we do a daily morning meditation and just share our hope and maybe something about the meditation as we go out through the day so that we have something throughout the day. And it's out of the lens of what? Codependency and addiction. Because, well, I'm the addict that you always loved, always hated to love. I have a little life hack again, another life hack that I want to share that I probably shouldn't share, but probably no one will care about, but maybe there will be one person.
Might be.
I have found a pillow that I love. It's kind of like a working pillow. Like it's made for a working pillow, but then I've adopted it for a working pillow because you can put a book on it, a laptop, you can rest on it, you could put like a plate on it. It's actually made for breastfeeding, which is a working pillow. So it's kind of like a hugging pillow that goes around you. But I used my friends all the time when I went over, and then they gave me one for Christmas. And so I use it. Should I go get it and show?
No, I can't even believe you're talking about this. It's so weird.
So we have this pillow here.
You're so weird.
No, it's a working pillow. And I am sure there is somebody that has children and the dude all of a sudden was like, I'm going to try that pillow. Like, I've never tried that pillow.
I don't think you're going to find that person.
Look at me.
You're that person. I think you're alone in this, and I think we should move on.
All right. I'm going to use it the whole time. Like, I think
what
it's like
I do love about you.
It's like a hugging table.
What I do love about you is that you are just simply yourself, no matter what. And you don't care what people think of you. You don't care that you could embarrass yourself. You don't care that people might think that this is ridiculous.
No, maybe I care. I'm not thinking about that. I didn't think that this would be embarrassing. But now you're making me think that this is embarrassing.
I'm so glad
I'm super brave.
that you can always just be yourself.
I don't do things to embarrass myself. So I didn't do this to embarrass myself. I just thought it was like a really cool life hack that I have like a table pillow that hugs me. Like, I think it's phenomenal.
Again,
I'm not a big fan of the yellow color. I wish it was like a more of a dark blue or.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for sharing.
All right.
You're keeping it there? You're gonna keep it there?
Well, I was just proving the point of being a working table.
Okay.
Should I get rid of it?
It doesn't matter.
I'm gonna get rid of it.
It really doesn't matter.
I feel like you want.
It doesn't matter. It's here now.
I love it's like, who would buy that for anybody at Christmas? Unless there was like a birth.
I feel like it was a gag gift, but
what?
you just said.
I use it all the time. The dogs love it too. They curl up. All right. Let's shift gears. Taking care of ourselves. March the 9th. Man, this
keep going.
week is
I don't want to
like
talk.
the week a year ago. Man, remember?
COVID.
Right, COVID. It's been a year.
Can't have a conversation without COVID.
You can't. It's hard to. All right. We cannot simultaneously.
Try again. You got it. You got this. You got
Where's
this.
my pillow? If I had the comfort pillow, I would have got that word out. Help me. We cannot
simultaneously
set a boundary and take care of another person's feelings. It's impossible. The two acts contradict. Did I do that right?
Yeah, you did.
All right. What a tremendous asset to have compassion for others. How difficult that same quality can make it to set boundaries. It's good to care about other people and their feelings. It's essential to care about ourselves too. Sometimes to take good care of ourselves, we need to make a choice. Some of us live with a deeply ingrained message from our family, from our church, about never hurting other people's feelings. We can replace that message with a new one that says it's not okay to hurt ourselves. Sometimes when we take care of ourselves, others will react with hurt feelings. That's okay. We can learn, grow, and benefit by the experience. They will too. The most powerful and positive impact we can have on other people is accomplished by taking responsibility for ourselves and allowing others to be responsible for themselves. Caring works. Ooh, caretaking doesn't. We can learn to walk the line between the two. Today I will set limits I need to set. I will let go of my need to take care of other people's feelings and instead take care of my own. I will give myself permission to take care of myself, knowing it's the best thing that I can do for myself and others. Amen. That's a powerful one because it's something that we've talked about. It's something that we do. It's something that we live in with being involved in ministry and recovery at the same time. So I thought it was interesting. I love the wording of taking responsibility, but the new thing for me was caring and caretaking. And she involved caretaking about somebody's feelings. So caretaking, what I'm perceiving is that part of caretaking is actually worrying about your feelings and how everything's affecting your feelings. I thought that was interesting. Thoughts, comments?
I think it's a very complicated. I think that setting boundaries is a very complicated thing and often misunderstood. And the best description that I heard was that I can put up a fence around my yard, and then I am responsible for like what's in my yard and what's not in my yard. And so if a tree is dropping stuff or branches are overhanging my fence, I can trim the branches that are overhanging my fence, but I can't stop the tree from growing, and I can't stop the tree from
like on the neighbor's yard.
Yeah, and like I can't stop my neighbor from throwing stuff into my yard, but I can remove it off my yard. Right? Like my neighbor can still my neighbor can do whatever they want in their yard. They can scream and yell, and the sound will be in my yard, but I can.
So then the caretaking part of this is worrying about their feelings and trying to fix their feelings, right, is what I'm getting out of that. I've never seen the two go together.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like so often, so from a codependent side, a codependent is a person who typically doesn't have very many boundaries in relationships and is very concerned about what other people think or feel, and so doesn't usually enmeshes themselves into someone else's stuff to try to help and fix and all that stuff. And so I feel like it is, for instance, a parent who has a child who I have a friend and their child is living on the streets, and that child has the opportunity to go to a grandparent's home once a month or once every couple months to shower and get clean clothes and clean food. There's been a boundary erected, by the grandparent. Like, you can come here and you can shower and you can clean and I will feed you, but this is how often you can come and you can, this is what I will do for you. This is what I'm willing to do for you. Does that child need more or want more? Probably, but the boundary has probably been erected over time. They've been able to say, like, actually, this is what I'm able and willing to do for you, and I can be here for you this way.
And that was the transition, and to change the messaging that we've heard, that we can't hurt other people's feelings or the perception of it, right, but to say that it's not okay to hurt myself.
Right.
And so that's how I think a great way of making boundaries and taking care of myself is going, I'm going to set up this boundary that I may not have had before. And it's going to make you, it's causing you to be angry and it's causing you to be hurt and lash out. But this is a boundary that I need to set to take care of myself.
But I don't think it's helpful when we start talking to other people about our boundaries, right? Like, for me to tell you, like, okay, I'm going to have a boundary, and
because
this is what it's
going
to
go into control.
Right. Because now I'm trying to control your behavior. What I do have to do, like, my boundary is for me. And so for me, like, I don't yell at my neighbor and say, like, I can ask them to stop throwing stuff on my yard, but if they won't, I just need to clean it up. I just need to clean it up and, I can move, or I can spend more time in my house or in my front yard. But I think for me, like, my boundaries are for me.
Yeah.
And so often I would yell things to you. Like I would tell you,
That's so good.
this is the very last time, like not one more time. I'm never putting up with this again. And you're like, and I'm sure you probably meant to follow my boundary, but you just, whether you could or couldn't or didn't want to or didn't care, like who knows? I needed to decide for myself. I'm actually not going to, I just can't do this. And so for me, okay, what am I going to do if this happens again, or when this happens again? What will I do differently?
So then
I have choices.
It's taking responsibility for me.
Right.
And it might upset, like there are relationships that we are enmeshed in. And then as we become healthy, then we actually set up boundaries that seem like it's very hurtful to the other person. Yeah. So then how do you deal with that? How do you not get sucked into the going on the ride of guilt and shame and control? That's a tricky one.
And that's why I say it's like so complicated. And I think that we learn and we grow, and it's not about not loving people, and it's not about not caring about people. And I think our relationship is a really good example of, we went through like a really rough period of time where, I didn't even know if we would ever speak again. And then when we did speak.
Are you talking about yesterday?
No. Yeah. But, when I was making tough decisions about like, I can't live in addiction, like I actually can't have addiction in my home. And so you wouldn't stop coming home, and, the house was in your name. And so then I actually had to decide, like, I'm actually going to go live somewhere else. And that wasn't easy. And it's
the best thing that you've ever done for our relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. And I never told you like, this is what's going to happen if you do this again. It's just that I had to decide for myself, like, if this happens again.
You didn't use it for manipulation. You didn't use it to control me. You just did it.
I just knew that. And actually I didn't even know far in advance. Like I knew that I was becoming less willing to live in addiction, with addiction in my home. I just didn't know what I could do. And then one time this new thought came to me, and I had spent a lot of time learning and growing, and I had spent a lot of time reading and understanding addiction, and really coming to not believe that you were trying to hurt me. You weren't trying to hurt me. And so I think boundaries are just so complicated, and I think that we make a lot of mistakes, and we go into trying to control another person. And I think that I've listened, like I YouTubed several months ago, I was on YouTube, and I was looking for, there's a few doctors that I like therapy doctors, psychiatrists,
therapeutic doctors,
like, not medical doctors,
therapists.
Yeah. And so then I was like, okay, what are boundaries, and how do we, how do I navigate this of like, it's a very complicated, I feel like it's a complicated thing, but I really like what, she's saying, like about taking care of my feelings and taking care of myself, and letting other people be responsible for themselves.
Well, it's beautiful that it says it's not okay to hurt ourselves.
Yeah.
So then am I hurting? How do you love others? How do you love God when you are hurting yourself?
And it's also not okay to hurt other people. I mean, hugely my problem would be that I would let things happen. I would be in, on the receiving end of things happening. And then I would just get so angry and so frustrated that I would just lash out at you, and I would feel completely justified because you tromped all over my boundaries, and look what you did to me. And now I'm just standing up for myself. Right. And so that's
and then you go into victim.
Then, that's the dangerous walk with boundaries. And so
keyword, responsibility, take care of ourselves, set up appropriate boundaries. Don't use them to control and manipulate.
Yeah. And it can be done with kindness and love.
And maybe you're somebody today that needs to set up boundaries. Maybe this is hurting your heart right now. So feel free to reach out. You're not alone. And if we can have a listening ear and help be a part of your recovery, we would love to do that. All right. Tomorrow, my friend Tim is speaking about grief in addiction, grief in recovery. At noon Eastern Standard Time. So we will see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Wash your hands and keep the peace and be of good behavior. Until tomorrow. Goodbye. I'll see you later.